Hey everyone, my name is Kevin and I'm a photographer and videographer that specializes in portraits, sports and street photography, where I shoot a lot of photos and videos on the go. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to fully customize your Sony A7C Mark II using the custom 1, 2, 3 dials on top of your camera for both photo and video modes so you can create faster and more efficiently. Whether you're a photographer looking to shoot faster on the go or a filmmaker setting up for quick cinematic looks, this guide is going to walk you through everything step by step to customize your Sony A7C Mark II. So let's get into it. Well, first, let's talk about the custom dials. On the Sony A7C Mark II, we got 3 memory recall slots, custom 1, 2, and 3, located on the top dial. These let us save different combinations of settings for quick access and is one of the most powerful tools for working faster and smarter with your Sony A7C Mark II. Before you save anything, make sure your camera is in the correct mode. This camera has access to save everything either on photo or video. So using the switch under the top dial, the camera separates your custom settings by mode, which gives you access to save more custom settings, so you want to customize it and save them in the right place. Flip the switch to photo mode and let's start customizing for photography. We're gonna set up for the custom button 1. This will be for an everyday type of photo setup, so here's a setup that I recommend. We're first gonna set our mode into the dial A for the aperture priority. So we're gonna go into our menu section to the camera for shooting, image quality, and we're gonna go into the file format and select RAW. I also keep it in the uncompressed just because I wanna have the most quality that I can have. Next, we're gonna set up the ISO range. We're gonna go into the exposure color, down into the exposure and into the ISO range limit. Here you can set up your minimum and maximum. My recommendation will be to put it into the ISO 50 for the minimum and the maximum for 6400. This will ensure to have a very sharp image as well. Whenever you go into the higher end ISO, it won't put in too much grain, so you can have a clear image as possible. And then right under it, we're gonna go into the ISO auto minimal shutter speed. For myself, I like to keep it at the 1/250th, so essentially the camera will just go ahead and take the photos at 250th and adjust the ISO and keep the aperture at what you set it to. This will allow to have the camera compensate accordingly to maintain that minimal shutter speed that you're wanting to get. And before you save it, make sure to put the ISO to auto so that the camera can work itself with the aperture priority a lot smoother with our minimal and maximum ISO setup. From there on, we go back into the menu section, back to shooting mode and camera set memory. Right here, you can save it wherever you want to, but we're gonna go obviously with the custom button 1 since this is what it works best for me. Now, anytime you're in photo mode, turn to dial 1 and you've got your setup ready to shoot into the aperture priority mode. Next, we're gonna set up our custom dial 2. Now set the mode dial M for manual. This is great for studio or consistent lighting, and here's how I set up mine. I like to start the shutter speed at 1/160th of a second to ensure that it has a little bit of speed, but I can go ahead and move it around accordingly. For the ISO, I like to set it up to 400 just because it's a good midpoint for myself to either go lower it or go up higher without having to waste too much time going from the spectrums of too low or too high. And the aperture, I just let it be what it is right now because every lens that I have is different. So you're just gonna be adjusting it depending on your lighting and depth of field needs. So just make sure to leave it at what you wanted to, or if you have your lens already set up, that's perfectly fine as well. You would still have the same image quality format. So if you already have it in RAW and uncompressed, you're good to go there. And simply go down to the shooting mode, camera set memory, and save it into the number 2. For custom dial 3, you can now set it however you like to following the steps that we did. Maybe you want to set something for low light, black and white, or flash photography. Use the same steps to save it to slot 3 in the camera settings memory section. Now we're going to move on to the video mode customizations. Switch your camera to the video mode using the switch, then rotate the top dial to M for manual video. For my custom one, I like to set it up for S-Log3 in 24 frames per second. So we're going to set up for a cinematic base profile. For the resolution, we're gonna keep it at 4K and 24 frames per second. We're gonna go into the shooting mode, image quality /rec, file format, and we're gonna go drop it to the XAVC HS4K. Then we're gonna go into the movie settings, frame rate 24 frames per second. I like to shoot at 100 megabits per second for the 422 10-bit for the record setting. Then I go into the exposure color, go into the color tone, picture profile, and then I go into the PP10 to make sure that I have the S-Log3 with the color mode S-Gamut3.Cine. Now we go back into our section right here to ensure that we have our shutter speed to be 1/50th. So that'll be the 180 degree rule. And then we're gonna keep our ISO at 800, so that's the native ISO for S-Log3 in the A7C Mark II. This will be a personal preference, but I like to keep my Kelvin into a customized one for 5000 Kelvin because it's a good starting point for most videos. And then to simply save it, we go back into Menu, Shooting, Shooting Mode, Camera Set Memory, and save it into Custom 1. Here is some footage using the 4K 24 frames per second with this camera. For my second dial of customization, I like to save it for 4K 60 frames per second for slow motion. So we're gonna go with the same process while being in video mode and still on manual. We're gonna go into Menu section, to the file format, keep it at XAVC 4K, change the movie settings to 60p, press OK. The record setting, I keep it at 200M 422 10-bit so I can have the highest resolution for what I need for the video. We go back into the exposure color. It should be still with the color tone of our picture profile that we had. So now the main thing to do is go back into the main area of the camera. Make sure you put your shutter speed to 1/125th of a second so that it has a 180-degree rule. Keep everything else the same. And then from there, we just save it into the menu section. So we go back into our image for the shooting, into the shooting mode, camera set memory, move on to the number 2 on top and hit OK. Now that you have it saved, you have the 4K 60 frames per second to do some slow motion footage like this. Now we're gonna go to set up custom button number 3 that I use for vlogging with S-Cinetone. This is the last setup that I use for fast vlogging and quick edits when I wanna have something fast and efficient. We're gonna go back into our menu section, get our image quality recommendation, keep it with the HS 4K, and make sure our movie settings goes back to 24 frames per second. From there, we're gonna go to the exposure/color, go into the color tone, put the picture profile PP11, and if we hit the right arrow, it'll show us that it's S-Cinetone. From there, we'll go back, hit OK, and now we're good to go with that. Now that we're back onto the main screen, we're gonna make sure that our shutter speed is 1/150th. And the ISO, I usually like to keep it on auto because this is something for faster and efficient with an exposure compensation of -0.3. Then we go back into the menu section, go into the shooting, go to shooting mode, camera set memory, and save it onto the number 3. And that's it. Your Sony A7C Mark II is now fully customized for fast, efficient, and high quality photo and video workflows. This will save you a ton of time whether you're on shoot or just grabbing your camera on the go. Let me know what you plan to use that third custom dial for, and if this video helped you out, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more content like this, and drop a comment down below if you have any questions. Hope you enjoyed this camera, and happy shooting.